Welcome to the week of wrestling. This is your AEW All Out 2023 review. I'm your host, Hunter Chambliss. I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Payne. How's it going, man?
Going good, actually. We've had like 2 weeks of back-to-back
Mm-hmm.
wrestling events. But I'm definitely here to talk about All Out. And I can't wait to get into it.
So before we get into trouble, let's talk about Payback a little bit. I did not want to do two events back to back. So
Oh, I figured
overall
we would
thoughts
talk about
on.
Payback on another time, but okay.
Well, I mean, since it came out first, might as well talk about our overall thoughts on that show and then go into detail for All Out.
All right, all
So,
right.
what was your thoughts on Payback Saturday night?
It was definitely a better pay-per-view than I was expecting it to be. I will say that there was definitely some matches that I had some interest, that I had vested interest in, that end up doing very well. I am glad Becky and Trish's cage match delivered. Seeing how one of my biggest issues with their feud was how the trigger was pulled too early, and there just wasn't enough time to really let. I mean, they didn't. It felt to me that WWE didn't give Trish enough time away to really get herself. To get herself reformulated back into the ring, like get herself refamiliar with everything, taking bumps, doing match times. Because to be honest, looking at some of the matches she and Becky had, Becky was doing most of the heavy lifting, and it's not,
Mm.
and there's definitely no negativities to both women there. It just definitely felt to me that there was a pull. Somebody in the back, most likely someone with the initials VKM, decided to pull on this a little too quickly and felt that. I mean, I love the heel work that Trish was doing. Don't get me wrong, but definitely felt to me that other than Zoe Starks being in her corner, Trish, like I said before in our predictions, Trish needed an extra hand in her group in order to really pad out this month, this month long, these months that she's been feuding with Becky. But beyond
Yeah.
that,
So
match was fantastic.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this cage match. I think the great thing about it, this was Trish's first ever cage match, just
Yeah,
in
that's
general.
amazing. Yeah.
And if you think about like what she's done since she came back, she competed in her first Money in the Bank match and her first
Mhm.
cage match, pretty much back to back. It was a really good match. Overall, I think Payback was a really fun show. I really think the card order should have been changed. I would have had that street fight go on last. I think that really drained the crowd going to the main events.
Oh yeah, with Seth and Nakamura. I mean, I get
Mm-hmm.
that, especially since they had that long held pause on the Judgment Day after Finn and Priest won. That really felt to
Mm-hmm.
me that should have been the end cap of the match of the pay per view. But
Yeah.
the main title is on the line, and if I recall, people were pissed when the main title went at Double or Nothing. That when Anarchy in the Arena was last. So it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't surprise me that WWE is trying to make sure that their heavyweight championship belt is last.
Which, yeah, I definitely get it, but like you have to look at like what will tire the audience out leading because as much as I really enjoyed Nakamura versus Rollins, I already knew which way this match was going,
Hmm.
and I was already tired watching, 30 plus minutes of the Judgment Day versus KO and Sammy. That I was like, I just kind of want to get through this main event.
I mean, yeah, but also I think because of the way that the length of that street fight, it wasn't just a negative, but because of how long it went, you really started it started to become apparent to me that the moment they just kept dragging out the time when Dom came out, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
either the KO and Sammy are gonna win this and cause more added issues with the Judgment Day, or they're padding this out a little longer for some more false finishes. But then after Dom came out, you had Rhea come out, which didn't mind that tackle, that spear spot through the
That
barricade.
spear was awesome.
JD McDunn sold that pop up powerbomb bump from KO
I
on.
thought he broke his fucking back on that
Yeah,
power bomb, bro.
that was a
Because the
good one.
table did not give break.
And well, I mean, normally there's always like with the announce tables, they are definitely held up and weighted properly. But when it comes with the spots, I'm pretty sure that there is something that is done in order to make sure that they do break when the
Mm-hmm.
moment's called for. But beyond that, I was surprised the Judgment Day won. I really thought that this was going to mark the beginning of the end, but Triple H seems to he has a lot of faith in this stable, and we'll see exactly down the road, either on Raw or maybe soon, where's this going to lead the Judgment Day. But for
I
right
will
now,
be right back. I gotta grab something.
I'll go ahead. I'll continue my thoughts. But for right now, at least with that match, we will see where Kevin and Sammy go. Maybe they'll. I have a feeling they're definitely going to challenge again for those belts, but it's going to be more focused on this time. They're going to not only get serious, but I'm pretty sure they're going to start looking for help to take out the numbers of the Judgment Day. And before Hunter gets back, I will also give my thoughts on the Women's World Championship match. Now, it felt honest to me that Rhea was going to retain, but I honestly would have liked Raquel to take that belt off of Rhea. But then, of course, but the fact that this came after the street fight, it did become more apparent to me that Rhea was going to retain because of the fact that the announcers did the whole Judgment Day got all the belts. They got all the belts, which what the hell does
Mhm.
that mean? All the belts. It's just more of Judgment Day have gold. But semantics
Each
alone.
member has each member has gold of some sort.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what made me laugh my ass off. The fact they kept saying they have all the belts. Technically, Dom has a belt from NXT. That's not all the gold. What's all the
Fair.
gold is the Undisputed Era getting all the belts in NXT. All the
By the
gold.
way,
Nice. Very good.
predictions champ, baby.
Yeah, for now. For now. You
For
enjoy
now.
that until Full Gear comes around. Then I'm taking that off your hands. Um,
Ooh, trash talk. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, no, trust me, more is going to be coming down the line. But all in all, this was a good pay per view. Although they like to call it a premium live event, which, no offense, it's a fucking pay per view. I'm sorry, streaming gives you a different way. I'm looking forward to see where this goes on. Oh, also, Cody Rhodes on Grayson Waller Effects. I was surprised. His announcement was that Jey Uso is on Raw.
I have a theory about this.
Yeah.
My theory is that Cody didn't do this out of the kindness of his heart. He's getting traded to SmackDown for Jey Uso, and that's how they're going to do Roman versus Cody because then they're on the same brand.
Yeah, but then also it's still like a long while. I mean, that's why it would have made sense maybe if Cody won the Royal Rumble for WrestleMania 40 to challenge. But no, if Cody is on SmackDown, it's gonna be difficult because they have to pad out the next November, like 6 months till WrestleMania. But beyond that, it was
could
still
do
a
it.
good paperback. Was still very entertaining. It was still good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Very, very entertaining show. All right, so let's get into the meat of the subject, the AEW All Out 2023 review. I'll start off by saying this. For a card that didn't really have a lot of build to it, I really enjoyed every match on this card.
And unfortunately, that's becoming a problem. Personally, to me, it's not a problem because looking at how AEW started and how it's full of independent wrestlers, it makes sense to me that they are following the way that things were done in the indies, to where if they had no TV time, so they just had to build matches out of the fucking blue. So of course, to us fans that have been groomed and that's been groomed on this whole long build storytelling through WWE, WCW, and then of course with NWA and TNA. And if anyone has any premium cable, there's MLW. So it does make sense how some people are gonna go, "Oh my god, this pay per view! Like it was only advertising 3 matches, and now all of a sudden it's got an extra 8, and now it's got 8 total or 10 total on the card."
Yeah.
To me, it's like this: if you didn't trust how well they were, if All Out 2022, Revolution this year, and Double or Nothing all had cards that were immediately put together, and the card delivered. Either some matches didn't go the way people wanted to, or some people didn't like how certain matches went. But each match honestly did they were not all matches were bangers, but each match did deliver on the entertainment factor, and this pay per view
Yeah.
definitely did that. Especially 0 Hour. I know you didn't see
Yes.
0 Hour.
I didn't see 0 Hour.
But from what I saw, the Battle Royal was entertaining. They did a good job really trying to set up the point of the $25,000. I mean, even at least there was a prize to win at the end of this. Instead of like normal Battle Royals where a wrestler wins and it's like, okay, what's next?
The Slim Jim Battle Royal at SummerSlam. What was that for?
Yeah, just for a product placement. But at least this one had a purpose. The wrestler who won gets $25,000 and donates it to charity. Hangman Page won, and later in the show, they did announce that it was going to the Chicago public. Oh my god, I forgot the name of
Public
it.
school fund,
Public school fund. Yes, so it was there
which
for
makes sense because Adam Page is a former teacher.
exactly, which matched. The
Yeah.
trios tied both trios matches with the women and on the other and the men's were also very entertaining. I
Mhm.
did appreciate with Sky Blue. I mean, she back to back wrestling on Collision and then on All Out. Sheeta herself doing the work. She wrestled on All In and then wrestled again at All Out. So both of those two, hands up to them. I did like this little face. I did like in the match that there was a face off between Sheeta and Athena, which really is kind of giving me the vibe that
Ooh.
we could see those two go for the Ring of Honor women's belt. And no offense, and to anyone who is not aware, oh hell yes, I would love this. Those
Give
two,
me that match, bro.
yes, especially with the reign that Athena's been having so far, that nobody else has beaten her. Trust me, and the fact it was the faces that won this trios match, it's definitely building a lot there.
Oh yeah, I definitely have to get caught back up with Ring of Honor TV. It's
Yeah,
just
I
so
check
much
in
to
from
watch
time to
weekly.
time.
Yeah, it's just so hard to catch everything in 1 week, wrestling wise. So I try to keep up with at least Dynamite, Collision, and then pay per views.
Yeah, and it's not no. Trust me, we're all human. We all don't have a lot of time in our lives to dedicate to watching wrestling. Hell, I remember when AEW started, I would have Dark just play on my phone while I was working, even if I wasn't watching the matches, or I'd have Dark play in the background when I was doing video games just to keep
Mhm.
up with it. So I don't blame anybody else for that. But the women won that match, and then later on with the Acclaim, they retained their trios championship with against Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Jay Lethal, which was a funny build from Saturday from Collision, having Dennis Rodman in the Acclaim's corner, which was very
Oh
interesting.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but at least he
The
wasn't just
Worm.
yeah, the worm Dennis Rodman. At least he wasn't just there for simply because for celebrity spot. He gets to do the guitar smash. I believe it was on to Jay Lethal. No, it was on the Satnam Singh. He did it on the Satnam Singh,
Ooh, nice.
and it led to a good victory. It was a short match though, but for this being a quick build and the fact that there was about 8 more matches to go, this was a good short match for the trios titles, and also it's good padding, so really to get the Acclaim back up on to get back up on the rise.
Yeah. All right, so let's kick off our main show for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. We have the champions Better Than You, Baby, taking
Mm-hmm.
on the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Um, I thought this match was really fun. I understand why they did not want to have MJF do two world title matches back to back, pretty much. Um, and this makes sense storyline wise because of the fact that MJF was selling his neck injury from
Yep,
last weekend, so he wanted to do something that wouldn't take more toll on his body, aka the
exactly.
tag team title match. So it makes sense. I kind of wish this was against the Kingdom, but I know that's what we're getting really soon. Um, for me, this was a very fun match with a very easy conclusion.
Yeah, and with Dark Order's turn, everyone was expecting Dark Order to at least give a lot more like butt fight to them, especially on the promo they did on Rampage, where Reynolds talked about he was coach to MJF, and same with
He was a
and then
trainer.
of course, huh?
I said he was his trainer. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. But he taught, but yeah, trainer, coach, he taught MJF.
Hmm.
And then of course, I liked how Silver did mention their brief like little friendship their potential friendship with Adam Cole, the Budge. That was fantastic because it's a good
Yeah.
reminder to anyone who watched AEW when Cole was there.
Hmm.
Um, but I did like the end. I mean, I'll be honest, it wasn't that memorable to me. I did appreciate the clothesline, the double clothesline. I kind
The
of wish that this was
double kangaroo kick was the spot of the night, bro. The match.
exactly. I'm glad it got brought back. I thought it was just a one and done, but it seems MJF he's using it very well. He's not gonna. Hopefully, it's not gonna be used too much, but
Mhm.
MJF, it seems he definitely got something that was meant to be just a stupid joke, and it got over like crazy.
That seems like the thing that MJF can do. He can take something as basic and as dumb as a double clothesline and turn it into a tag team finisher.
Which is funny because the double clothesline you see in most tag team matches is just used as a stun move or just to
Hmm.
take down your opponents. But I like that Cole and MJF really builds it up as a finisher. And
Which is
of course,
funny because in this match, Dark Order hits the double clothesline and Cole kicks out at two.
yeah, but beyond, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get more Dark Order down the road, especially with this new intense turn that they've made. But of
Mhm.
course, after the match, we all know what was the next, what was definitely coming. Well, not we knew. I mean, nobody knew, but but people who know about NXT and Samoa Joe's time in NXT, that little,
Yeah.
oh yeah, so it's pretty much all you who watched after the match is over. Baby, better than you, baby, celebrates. Samoa Joe's music hits. They start walking up the ramp, and Samoa just gives a little shove to MJF, and
Which
damn,
which harkens back to when MJF was a security guard during Joe's title reign in NXT.
oh yeah, but I liked how MJF really sold it as disrespect, and then goes in there, attack. Even with that neck of his, he's still selling it. Attacks him and Joe gets into a brawl, but of course it ends with Joe putting that little coquina clutch on him.
Yeah. All right. I got a question. Was this a shot at the NXT days, just a little reference, or was this a kind of shock spot for the CM Punk Jack Perry brawl? Because he even put him in a front face lock, a guillotine choke, just like Punk did to Jack.
Uh, I personally don't think it's the latter. I think it's the former. I think it ties to that because no, I mean after with that, I think honestly to me because of that little attack, I really believe this is definitely going to build to Samoa and MJF. I would not be shocked that during this little tournament to announce who's going to face MJF, Samoa Joe is added into it, and
Yep,
then it begins, and
that's
then
what I'm
Joe
thinking.
begins a run. Yeah,
So my theory for that is that Joe's going to win the eliminator tournament, fight MJF at Full Gear,
oh, I thought
and
it was for Grand
then
Slam.
is it for Grand Slam? Okay, makes more sense.
I could be wrong. Honestly, I could be wrong because I know MJF did say that there was going to be a
I think it
tournament.
is Grand Slam. I think you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I just heard eliminatory tournament, and every time I hear eliminatory tournament, I think
yeah,
a
we think
Full
full
Gear.
gear, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a eliminator tournament that's going to be announced sometime in October. So
yeah. So my theory is that Cole is going to look like he wants to help Max, but he's really just feeding him to Joe to like hurt his neck and his front throat area a little bit more, leading to their rematch down the line.
maybe, yeah.
All right, so speaking of Samoa Joe, our next match for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, Samoa Joe, the champion, defense against Shane Taylor. Fun fact, the first time I've ever seen Shane Taylor, he was tag teaming with Keith Lee back in the day, back in the ROH days. Um, this match was physical and it was great. A lot of strikes from both guys. Joe hitting like 4 or 5 straight jabs in a row and Taylor coming right back with it. Um, and the match ends with just a series of elbows, I believe, and then the Coquina clutch with Shane
Yes,
Taylor tapping out. Thoughts on
that
this
was
match?
surprising that they would have him tap out instead of just having him pass out. But because they did a good job of building Taylor as this muscle, as this physical threat, as physically matching Samoa Joe. So it is
Yeah.
surprising that it did end in a tap out.
Well, my theory is that because they already had the Ricky Starks passed out um, ending going
Well,
on, that they wanted to
hold
not
off
do.
on that.
Yeah, yeah. But they had that ending already planned out, so they probably wanted to make Joe look even stronger going out of this match.
All right. Well, I mean, like I said, it's at this point, it was just kind of like a surprise. It was just more of a surprise to me personally.
Hmm.
But then of course, Samoa Joe is still shown as a dominant threat.
Yeah. So overall, really good match. I think Samoa Joe's TV title reign is really great right now. Can't wait to see if he does anything with MJF or if that was just a one-off kind of
I really don't
encounter.
believe it's a one-off. I really do believe that this is going to build to something. Either Samoa Joe is going to be in that tournament, or he's just going to call out MJF, and MJF is just going to take an opportunity to fight him for the title.
Yeah. All right. So our next match for the AEW TNT Championship, the real champion Christian Cage being defending his title against Darby Allin. I'm sorry, it's Luchasaurus taking on Darby Allin. I love the fact that Christian is doing this like I'm the real TNT champion type thing, even though he
Mm-hmm.
didn't win the belt. It's amazing.
Well, it fits for his heel character, and also, I mean, because of Luchasaurus, because he's such a giant wrestler. What
Mm.
better way to in order to keep them having TV time, but then also still having Luchasaurus be do not squash matches, but I mean, Christian having the microphone is 100% a gold mine that WWE, that AEW, not WWE, what the, but it's still Christian not having enough mic time was a mistake that WWE did not, mistake that WWE had that AEW capitalized on, and seeing what he's done since him and Luchasaurus has teamed up together. You might as well just put nuclear heat on Christian and have him betray Luchasaurus and become the TNT champion.
Oh no! But overall, man, I think this match was really fun. I think.
Wait.
Sorry, can you hear me?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Darby is someone who can sell his ass off for bigger guys, and he works so well against how massive and tall Luchasaurus is, and
Yeah.
how like their their kind of styles like mesh really well. You have this like big physical like monster, and then you have this guy using his quickness, his footwork, things like that. Bro,
And
the
using a
ending of this
Daredevil
match.
style, his Daredevil style
Yep.
attitude as well.
Yep. The end of this match was brutal because it was like 3 tombstones in a row into the snake eyes into that back clothesline for Luchasaurus to retain.
Yeah. I'm actually glad that he did retain. It's not because I didn't think that Darby should retain win the belt, but I really did feel that there was more to go with Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, at least as a duo with that TNT title. And then, of course, after hearing some of reports from Darby Allin how bad he messed himself up and All In from that coffin drop spot, I think this is a good
Ah,
way to give him some time off from television. He still might
makes
come back around, but as far as Darby Allin being in the ring, give him some. I think this is a good way to have him take a break. Heal himself
mhm.
up.
Yeah. So, by the way, did you watch the press conference after All Out?
Oh yeah, when Christian just went in, the first thing he said before it started, "How's everyone's fathers doing?"
I love this fucking gimmick, man. He's just gonna roast on everybody's dad.
Oh yeah, it's kind of. I think I came across Twitter and somebody just made this little meme post where like with Cody and Christian side by side, and we just said, "Good thing Cody left AEW before this guy came in."
Oh, he would have healed it so hard against Dusty, man. You know he would have.
Oh yes, he would. He definitely would have, and Christian would have had some dusty stories as well.
Oh, he definitely would. All
And the
right,
first
so
scene off of the documentary with Cody, one of the things they focused a lot on Dusty, like being like a father figure to some of the NXT NXT wrestlers. It definitely felt to me like, damn, if Cody ever went heel in WWE, I can immediately see who he's going after. Every wrestler who was mentored under Dusty Rhodes.
that would be a great storyline. Cody turns heel on Seth because he was like Dusty's favorite in NXT, and
Yeah.
that's your world title feud. Oh, that would be great. Not gonna happen, but that'd be great.
Well, it depends. We'll see where. What I forgot how. I don't know if Cody. I don't know if Cody signed to a multi-year deal or he just signed for a few years. But we'll see what happens down the road.
Yep. So let's move on to big meaty men slapping meat. Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I absolutely love the Chicago crowd for all the meat puns they were making.
Man, I
A
didn't
piece of
even
meat
notice the
sticks.
meat. I didn't notice the meat calls at first. I thought they were just saying eat. I thought they were saying. heat or eat until
Oh,
someone shared a clip and they're going like, "Oh, they're saying meat." Okay.
dude, beat the meat was a great fucking chant. I love the Chicago crowd so damn much. No,
I
but
think
this
because
was a hoss fight, man.
yeah, 100% hoss fight. I think because it's summer and the heat going around. When I thought they were saying beat heat, I'm like beat the heat. I'm like, yeah, it's
Oh,
hot in
beat the
here.
heat.
That's what I thought they were saying, beat the heat. But then of course,
No,
but then time's over. But then of course, time went by afterwards. People were sharing like the clips on Twitter. Oh, they were like, I had the biggest. Oh my god, it made so much more sense.
dude. Even the commentary, even Excalibur brought up this. He was like, "Big meaty men slapping meat" on commentary, and like just the different meat puns were great. I absolutely love this crowd tonight because this is a crowd that could have easily turned against the show
Well,
because of probably
yeah,
not
and
being there,
there was many toxic fans that wanted them to turn on this show.
and they
But
didn't.
I think it's because of what Tony did at Collision. Everyone, because so many people were sharing 30-second clips of Tony getting booed by the crowd. When the truth is, they didn't play the whole video. The
Yeah,
whole video was pretty much Tony going out there, being open with them. These fans want to burn Tony because he gets booed and he said he feared for his life. Seriously, these fans are idiots. No, I'm
dude.
not.
Vince Russo had one of the dumbest takes I've ever seen when he was like talking about how like if Tony Khan should man up, stop being afraid of the wrestlers, that he almost died every week when he was a booker and he uh, manned up, things like that. It's so fucking stupid.
But then later on, he ends up posting on Twitter that he says that Tony needs a heavy. He needs somebody who can take the heat from these wrestlers in the back. I'm like, Vince Russo. I mean, seriously, what are you doing? You're either going to criticize Khan or you're trying to give advice. Which is why I don't like to listen to a lot of these wrestling pundits now, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference between criticizing the business and you're still being involved to you have not been near the business in a while and you're still criticizing it.
Yeah. So back to where we were on the crowd thing. This
Yeah.
was a type of show in Chicago right after Punk got fired. They could have easily turned on this card and hijacked the show, and they didn't. They were in the matches 100%, and that's because it seems like one, the morale is higher now that Punk is gone, and two, all of these people who are on this card came to wrestle.
Well, I mean, after All In, and then of course with All Out being a week from after that, it was clear to me that they were going to need to put on good back-to-back shows, especially during the press conference, the media scrum. Tony Khan was asked, "What's the logistic trouble? Did he have any logistic issues? And is he going to do this again?" And Tony does feel like he wants to do it again. Have All In, of course,
Yeah.
it's going to happen next year, and then have All Out a week later.
Mhm.
Now, honestly, I don't mind him doing that because with the big roster they have, this is kind of a good thing. Of course, you can still put out great matches on both pay-per-views, but also maybe use some of the pay-per-views to really elevate talent that are not getting enough time or not getting enough in the
Or
spotlight.
or like next year, do it to where you have one overarching storyline that you want to go from All In to All Out, and then it feels like one big pay per view event. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
have like, say you have 16 matches in total, do 8 and then 8, set them all up, and then you cut them in half. You're like, okay, this is going to be our main event for All In. This is our main event for All Out, and now they have them connecting in some way.
Well, well, for right now, this is obviously going to happen again next year. So
Yeah.
I think now that Tony has done this the first time, maybe with logistics and with some of the experienced people he has with him, it'll be much easier to produce these shows. But moving through those logistics, the Miro and Hobbs match definitely delivered 100%. Both of these men sold like they were. It was literally just like it was Godzilla versus King Kong. None of these men were going down easy. Each blow felt like they could tower. They could
So many
shatter
clothesline
buildings.
spots that looked amazing.
Yeah. And then, of course, in the end, Miro. And I liked how Miro tried to use the game over. Powerhouse Hobbs gets out of it. And then Miro uses a spine buster, then does the game over again to get the victory. And then, of course,
Yeah.
that ending, though, after the match, it looked like Hobbs was going to show some respect. And Miro, of course, being right to hesitate, it looks like, okay, they shook hands. I'm like, oh, are they teasing a tag team between these two? But the
And then
moment he
no.
turns around, boom. And then, of
Yeah,
course,
so
during the fight,
sorry.
Miro wants to choke him out. All of a sudden, the crowd goes crazy. And then the screen just says, hot and flexible. I'm like, wait, no. And guess what? It is the AEW debut
CJ.
of CJ Perry, Miro, aka formerly known as Lana in the WWE, Miro's wife, who Miro has been saying constantly in his promos. She
Oh,
shows
it's
up,
so good.
and I do appreciate that in this. Like they do acknowledge that she's not strong. She goes in there with a chair. She does her best to stop Hobbs. But it was good distraction for Miro to attack. But then
Mhm.
but it was really interesting afterwards. They're face to face in the ring, and Miro, he looked at her, and I like how a commentary said he looked like he's seen a ghost, and then he just walks away from her, and then of course, not many people were listening. I mean, there wasn't that much camera cutting back and forth. It was on CJ a lot, but then when it went to Miro, he kept saying, "You're not real.
You're
You're
not
not."
real.
And then I think someone shared that later on. He did like a backstage promo where he's like, "I have forsaken you," and like,
Mm.
so where does this lead us? Which is a very interesting little add-on.
That's the thing. And I love the way they brought in CJ because Miro has always been talking about like his God, his wife, things like that. But
Yes.
when he came back, he said that his God betrayed him because he gave him
Oh,
a neck of sand.
well, yeah, at first, but then he felt that I know before then he said he rebuilt himself, but he still felt forsaken because at first I believe in one of his promos he had no gold on hand, and oh man, it's been a while since some of his promos because when he
Pretty
always talks
much,
about
he was saying that he uh, disrenounced his God
yes,
and
he did.
his hot flexible wife. So he's saying that he has nothing else on his mind but destruction in AEW. And I wonder if CJ being
Mm-hmm.
sorry, if CJ being there is going to like make him more protective, or if he's gonna like having to like go back to the way he was, like his all the redeemer. He's redeeming himself.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's really difficult to tell, but that's gonna be to that. We'll find out more about this when Collision comes around the corner. But let's
Yep.
move on to the next match.
Yeah, for the TBS Championship, champion Chris Statlander takes on Ruby Soho. Um, this was a really good match, back and forth the entire time. I think it went about 12 to 15 minutes, something like that. It was
Yes, it did.
pretty decent match. Chris Statlander retains with the help of Tony Storm, who comes out and takes
The
the
spray
spray
can. Yeah.
can from Ruby. And then she hits was it Sunday Night Fever for the victory.
Yes. And it was very interesting how that went down. Honestly, I was kind of surprised. I mean, seeing Saraya and Ruby come out together, that was not a surprise because with after All In, it definitely was sending out there that there's some dissension in the Outcast, and then after Collision, Saraya, even though she was teaming with Tony, wanted nothing to do with her after the match is over. So I like this little change in her character to where Tony, to most people, looks like she's becoming unhinged. But this could be very interesting. Maybe later on in Dynamite when Saraya wants answers, or Tony. I don't know. This is a very interesting little angle here. Tony has been showing ever since she lost that title, she's becoming less and less like herself. So who knows exactly where this is going? But I do like this little interesting add-on too. Maybe Tony's gonna be the first person Saraya defends her title against, or Tony's gonna become more of a thorn in her side to where maybe the Outcast will finally disband.
Yeah. Um, by the way, love that Statlander came out dressed like Ben Stiller from Zoolander
I
with
didn't
the
even recognize
bandana and things
that.
like that. The
Did
blue
not even
steel look.
recognize. Didn't even catch it. Did not catch it.
Um, Overall, this was a really good match. I do wish there was maybe an AEW Women's Championship match on the card as well. But I get it. You're doing it over 2 nights, so you want to kind of split them up that way. Plus, Saraya, with her injury, the way her neck is, you want to keep her for special occasions. So I get that.
And maybe her having the belt, this will give fine. I mean, I have been like very silent most of the time on the build around the women's division, and especially after these past couple months after Jamie Hayter got herself hurt with Toni Storm holding the belt. And then, of course, Toni ended up having to end up not being around a lot because she was shooting a movie. So there really wasn't a lot of focus around the division. Maybe with Saraya having a belt, we can build more contenders. Like the women are really going to vie for that championship now. Hopefully, we get that.
And having somebody who's a veteran like Saraya holding the title is only going to make everybody have to go up to her level to succeed. You know what I mean?
I do, 100%.
So maybe this is the right call to put the belt on Saraya. Overall, though, really good match. And we move on to what might be my match of the night.
Honestly.
The no DQ strap match with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, taking on Ricky Starks.
And you want to talk about
brutal.
Not only just brutal, but one of the matches that definitely really had little build because, I mean, obviously Starks was definitely building himself as a name, rebuilding himself on Collision, and then of course, before that incident with Punk, it was being teased that Punk and Starks were going to go on All Out for the Real World Championship. But then when that went away, Starks decides to challenge Ricky Steamboat to a strap match, and then I loved in Collision how they played that out. Ricky comes out, he is no nonsense, he's straight talking, and he just says, and I love how he's really focusing on that contract. It's Ricky Starks versus the Dragon. And
the Dragon.
Yes, that was a great term because nobody thought twice about it. Nobody thought twice. They were just like, okay, it looks like Ricky Steamboat, who everyone was saying is a 70-year-old man, is going to go through with this. And then he's like, okay, you happen. Everyone knows me. Everyone calls me the Dragon, but they also know this guy. And then returning Bryan Danielson, which was amazing. And I know you missed 0 Hour, but Danielson did a very good promo on 0 Hour building up that strap match. And he talks about how he was at home watching Collision. He has a lot of love and respect for Steamboat. And then he was disgusted seeing Starks do that. And then he tells Starks, which was his great line, the last time I was in a strap match was against a man I loved, and we beat the shit out of each other. And to many people who know what he's talking about, his last strap match was against
the Fiend.
Bray Wyatt.
Oh, that's nice.
That was a great promo, but also to hype up Daniel Bryan, like the character, his attitude has never changed. Where he says, "I love this man. We beat the shit out of each other. I don't like you, so imagine what I'm gonna do to you." And we saw what happened in this match.
So this kind of going off of a tangent, real quick, not really tangent, but just kind of a side road here. Is Bryan a face or a heel? Because he is acting like a face here, but he came out with Moxley during the main event with the BCC, who are definitively heels.
Well, Danielson was asked that during the media scrum, and he pretty much just said he pretty much openly admitted he's dancing both sides of the card. He says he came out there because he respected Ricky Dragon, but he's also BCC member, so he's there to represent his boys. And of course, when Moxley won, you did see him out there with himself, helping Moxley, celebrating with him.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what threw me for a curve. Like on Collision, when his music played, he came out from the face side of the ring of the entrance instead of the heel side. But I mean,
tonight on All Out, he came out to the final countdown, which is a big crowd pleaser.
That I love that too. I really love that. I mean, Tony Khan is really showing that that's why I'm saying this is like independent stuff, because many wrestling fans who are not aware of that was his music that he came out to in the independent scene.
Dude, having the entire crowd sing the final countdown at the end of the match was awesome. But overall, man, this match was great. There was moments where freaking Starks and Bryan were just battering each other in the face with that strap. And I was like, oh my god, they're going to kill
And
each
then
other.
Ricky getting to actually use that other strap, his little Starks weighted belt in that match.
Yeah.
One thing for sure, Ricky Starks proved Ricky Stark is definitely a made man in AEW, 100%. And in hindsight, it really was a smart idea turning him heel again. I mean,
And
not
putting him with Bill.
yes, I mean, I did say earlier on, I was not disappointed with Stark's face turn, but it was really clear that they kind of did not give him the sort of feuds needed for him. Sure, he had a great he had a great mini feud with MJF. Then of course his that little month long feud he had with Jericho, but it really wasn't enough for Starks. This one here, out of a short build time, rebuild it. It brought back the star power that Starks had when he first came into AEW when he was
Yeah.
with Team Taz. This brought him back, and now, especially how the match ended, when Starks said in his promos, "You're gonna have to kill me to beat me," and we saw that he would not tap out. So Brian took that freaking strap and choked him out with it.
That was a very sick spot, man. Because Brian hits the knee, stomps his face.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, he stomps his face, hits him on the knee. Starks kicks out. Then he turns it into a label lock. Ricky tries to fight all that, and then Brian puts the strap around his throat and just pulls back like he's hanging him. Fucking brutal.
Yeah, that was like the second longest match of the night.
That makes sense, actually. All right, so let's move on to the BCC versus Eddie Kingston and Shibata. The BCC is Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta.
But then also, then coming out to the 1812 Overture, BCC, once again, another music that Claudio came out to during his time in the Indies.
Ooh, nice. I kind of wish they just made this Eddie versus Claudio, put the Ring of Honor World title on the line.
I think that's going to be saved. From what I've been seeing with when Tony wants to book a Ring of Honor defense, he mostly has it done on Ring of Honors, like either their Honor Club or for the Ring of Honor pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Outside of Joe defending, outside for the television title
and the tag titles.
Yeah, I mean, when Tony Khan had acquired Ring of Honor, he was doing his best to get it more like he was doing his best to really introduce it back to the audience. Although everyone at the time thought it was going to be an AEW Ring of Honor brand split, but no, it was just here's some Ring of Honor, and now guess what? Here's Honor No More. It's you're still getting Ring of Honor wrestling. They're now wrestling out, and they're wrestling out of Orlando Studios, Universal Studios, sorry, in Orlando, which is what was used originally for Dark. So we do see that at least Tony Khan had himself a plan for Ring of Honor, and it's been.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you had something you wanted to bring up.
I was gonna say, like, if you didn't want to do it for the ROH title, you could have put Eddie's never open weight strong title on the line.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that this is a tag match because Wheeler Yuta, who was a former pure Ring of Honor pure champion, and you have Shibata, who is the current pure champion. The fact, and of course, with the Blackpool Combat Club winning, kind of opens the door for Yuta to challenge Shibata again for the pure title. And then, of course, this continues Kingston and Claudio's feud to where I do believe we are definitely going to get them fighting for the the Ring of Honor world title. But it really depends if Kingston
Death Before Dishonor.
Maybe Death Before Dishonor, because I don't know. Maybe Tony will risk putting it on for an AEW card. Maybe he'll have it at Grand Slam. Maybe it'll be set up for Full Gear.
That would make a lot of sense because the New York crowd, Eddie's a proud New Yorker. You put that, like maybe Claudio and Kingston in a street fight for the title. That'd be a hell of a main event.
Yeah, or a no holds barred match, because clearly Kingston and Claudio's feud is. Oh, and I love the storytelling in this match where Claudio would refuse to look at Kingston.
To look at Eddie, it's so good.
Yeah. Showing the disrespect, firing Eddie up in this match, even though Eddie was doing his best to be a professional with Shibata, but the moment he and Kingston were either squared across or he's wrestling with Yuta, he wanted Claudio so bad. Like he wanted, like you can almost see he was like a rabid dog wanting to tear him apart. And I think that's kind of what led to the loss they had.
It definitely did.
I did like how it ended though, where Yuta, I don't, regardless of what people's feelings are with Yuta being in the BCC, I think he was a good choice here because
Oh, he was.
he's not just someone who can take the pins in the BCC, but also you pair him with these experience with these veterans. Whenever
He's gonna
BCC does
learn.
get a, yes, when BCC does get victories and Yuna's with them, I mean, just this year in the Anarchy in the Arena match, Yuta pinned Kenny Omega. That got him one hell of a good rub. And
Yep.
he did have some great matches against Orange Cassidy, which ties back to his storyline when he was mentored under Cassidy and the Best
Hmm.
Friends, which was of course part of that big feud. That I mean, the
Yeah.
backstage brawl, the whole
Hmm.
Stadium Stampede match. Like Yuta is a good addition to them, to where you have an AEW, where you're getting someone who's being an AEW original talent or a signee to AEW who's being homegrown in this company.
Yeah.
So where you, yeah, so
Um. By
I'm
the
gonna
way,
keep going.
no, it's fine. Shibata fucking murdered Willer Yuta with this spinning back fist.
Oh my god, it looks so
That
brutal. I'm
that
like,
Orican.
oh god,
Oh
it hit
my
harder
god.
than normally than Eddie does with with that Hurricane. Oh my god, I love the fact. I'm really so happy that this is my time getting to see Shibata wrestle. I was so fortunate to see Shibata wrestle in when they came to San Diego,
Hmm.
and just seeing him now, I'm like, this is amazing. I see
Shibata
why he was
is
so well known in New Japan. Why he had this great this great reputation.
yeah. Shibata's an absolute legend, man. This is a guy who, you know, should have not wrestled again. Shouldn't even been able to walk again. And
Exactly.
now he's competing at one of the highest levels. He's a champion in Ring of Honor. Absolute legend. Really fun match. Um, so let's move on to our next match, which the ending of this one surprised the hell out of me. Konosuke Takeshita taking on Kenny Omega, with Takeshita pinning Omega again cleanly.
Yeah, that one was a shocker. Not just cleanly though, but this was the longest match of the whole
Mm,
card, and the way it was shown with these two, like I like how it really did build it. This was a match that bled out from All In, and you do see with Don Callis like how much he despises Kenny Omega so much that he takes the one person that Kenny mentored, respected out of Konosuke, and now brought him into his into his grasp. This literally was like
mhm.
Kenny trying to battle for the soul of Konosuke, but damn, just seeing how this went, and some of the spots in this match. I mean, the B trigger, the attempt of a one wing angel off of the turnbuckle, and then that avalanche blue thunder bomb was amazing. But I loved how this match was mainly just a psychological, uh, technical match between the two of them before it got into the strikes.
Yeah, definitely. So the match ends with with Takeshita hitting what, a knee strike, I think,
Like a
Omega.
powerful running power knee, powerlifting knee. He does two of them on Kenny. He kicks out, and then he pulls down his knee pad and does it again for that one, two,
Mm-hmm.
three.
Yep. So overall, man, I'm surprised that they put Takeshita over Omega again, but I am glad that they are using Omega to make new stars as well.
I think also this is also I think I have a feeling this was Kenny also having his hand involved in this because I
Oh,
mean the history has a Konechka back in D in DD
DDT Pro.
yeah, DD Pro. The fact their history together, it doesn't shock that Kenny was willing to not only take the pin for on let Takeshita have take the pin for Takeshita and All In, but then have him beat him that way cleanly. This isn't just like
Mhm.
some people thinking, oh, because this is one of the instances where these fans come out and say, oh, the elite are in the business for themselves. Well, if they really pay attention to the elite's in ring like records here in AEW, especially in the first year, the Bucks and Kenny did not put belts on each other until 1 year after. Like,
And the Bugs really made like Private Party.
Yes, they built a lot of tag team. They built a lot of tag team wrestling.
It's just this type of fan base, man. They're never going to be satisfied with anything that AEW does. So, I mean, at this point, like, there's nothing you can really say to get them to change their mind. Like, the Elite lost all their matches tonight at All Out.
Yeah. And speaking of like elite, let's just move on to that next match after Osuke and Kenny.
Speaking of,
I should mention though, they brought that screwdriver back out again. And
yeah,
man, the way that Kenny looked at Don when he saw that screwdriver once again in that canvas, Kenny looked like he really wanted to rip his eyes out.
yeah, definitely.
And I'm
All
surprised
right,
he didn't
so
come back. Although they did try to, and then when Kenosi tried to use it, I like the referee. He stopped him from using that too.
yeah. All right, so we have Bullet Club Gold, which is Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Guns taking on FTR and the Young Bucks in an 8-man tag team match.
Mm-hmm.
This match felt like a palate cleanser or like a cool down match leading to the main event. It was a
Yeah.
really good match, and I'm really glad that Bullet Club Gold is continuing to shine and succeed in the tag team division, because that was the big problem everyone had when Jay White was announced to be signed with AEW, is that how much is he going to get to do because there's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of time. But Collision has really helped, Juice Robinson, Jay White, and Ricky Starks, especially to have these guys shine. Like going 59 minutes against FTR on Collision in the
Oh yeah,
Tag
that
Three
two out
Falls
of three
tag team
falls
match.
match, man, beautiful.
Yeah, that match was great. And now they win here in a big win over FTR and the Young Bucks, which I'm pretty sure is going to lead to the Guns getting a title shot against FTR, since it was one of the Guns who pinned, what was it, Cash?
I believe yes,
It
because
was
Dax was on the
Austin.
out. Dax was knocked out on
Yep.
the outside, so it was Cash that got pinned. But also the fact that Bullet Club Gold, any one of them can, any formation of the, any variation of them can challenge for tag title gold. I mean, it could be Juice and Jay White. It could be the Guns again, and this is a good pairing too because also with Jay White, I mean, I like that. Jay White's really, I mean, because let's be honest, when Jay White got signed, most people they knew about him was that he was one of the newest. He was Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to any fan out there. Myself, I got introduced early on to Jay White when the Bucks, Kenny, and Cody were in New Japan, and so I stayed up to date with him.
Yeah.
But then, of course, he comes in. Look, they made a smart move by going slow with him, pairing him up with Juice Robinson, forming a new Bullet Club here, and then getting the Guns involved. You can see these guys, and I love on Collision when they do those interviews. They're just crowding over Tony Schiavone, making him uncomfortable. Like they're really getting their
Yes.
personalities out. And now after they've beaten the Bucks and FTR, this is gonna send their egos flying to the moon.
Oh, without a doubt. Funny enough, like I was lucky enough to um follow Jay White's career when he was a young talent in Ring of Honor.
Oh,
Like
yes, he
when
was
he
in
was
Ring
like
of Honor.
when he was like this fresh faced like Kiwi, character. And then I was lucky enough to see his debut as Switchblade in New Japan, which was awesome. The music, everything like that. So I've been following his career for a long time. So it's really good to see Jay White, really succeeding in AEW.
Yeah. And soon
Overall, though,
it's gonna push him to the main event where he is gonna start winning gold. I mean, it's a
oh
matter of
yeah,
time. Even if it's not until next year, Jay White's already establishing himself along with the rest of with Juice and Bullet Club Gold.
hmm
Where next year, 2024, will not be surprised if any one of them will get gold.
I would love, and I don't know how possible this is. I would love to see like Adam Cole wins the AW World Title as a heel. Jay White slowly becomes like a tweener, like he's not a full face but full heel, but he's right in the middle. And then he goes after the AW World Title, and then you get like a Bullet Club versus Kingdom feud out of that.
Probably it'd be interesting.
That would be a hell of a feud. But overall, this match was really good. Kind of clustered in the middle a little bit.
It did, especially in that spot when I believe it was Austin. It was one of the it was Austin. He got suplexed by Cash, and then we saw that multi man like top rope spot. You know, with the leg drop, the
Yeah,
elbow, the splash, and then the 450.
50.
Yeah, but even then, there were some clunky spots too with all these 8 men involved. But you can also tell they were trying to speed up on time as well to save enough for the main event.
Yeah. Overall, though, a really entertaining match, a really good palate cleanser, and this just it looks great on the record of Bullet Club Gold.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we have our main event for the AEW International Championship. The champion Orange Cassidy defends against Jon Moxley. This was a fantastic main event.
It was. And one of the things I constantly I'm starting to re-notice with Cassie because before All Out began, they did like there was a playlist that was 2 hours long of Orange Cassidy's matches in the past, like a little highlight reel and it started noticing like, of course, other than his physical appearances and the tape along him, that today when he came out with his music, the Titantron. Oh my god, it went by so fast. Like, of course, it did this whole thing where freshly squeezed, squash that, one scribbled out,
Yeah,
whatever, cool move here. It quickly flashed and said, "I'm so tired," and
I'm
then
so
moved.
tired. I love it. I've noticed that every time he holds the belt, it just says, "I'm so tired."
Yeah, and then, but yeah, even then, seeing him like, I don't know if it was he was having trouble getting the belt out or if it was a character choice, but I loved how he was having trouble just trying to get the belt out of that backpack before he got to do his little signature pose in the ring. But still, it was very good. And this match, man, I mean, if the strap match wasn't on this, I would say was a brutal fight.
Same, yeah. So the great thing about this is that one, it makes the international title mean that much more that's main eventing a pay per view, but it means that much because of the run Orange Cassidy had with the belt. 31 straight defenses for that title is insane, and his body just gave up on him in this match.
Yeah. And speaking of the international title, amazing from where its beginnings where so many people thought that this was AEW's adding another belt just to that's not going to mean anything. But then when Cassidy gets I mean, not to say that Pac holding the belt was not a bad idea. Him being in double champions, trios, and All Atlantic was incredible.
Mm,
But one thing with Pac, of course, him being from England, of course, his issues is travel visas, so he's not always going to be around to defend it.
yeah,
I definitely love the idea to when it began. It looked like Tony Khan was only going to be using wrestlers who were international, like from overseas, which
yeah,
I was not against. I thought that with that belt, if it was for wrestlers who lived overseas, this could have been great. Like if Pac had won, he could defend it when he's back in England or London, wherever he lives. Or if a wrestler
yeah,
from Australia wins it, they can defend it if they go to Australia. Same with a wrestler from Japan or one who lives in Canada. That belt could have been defended outside of AEW in different independent arena and venues. Like really bringing some prestige to it and
yeah.
maybe getting some outside attention into AEW.
And that's what I think Jon Moxley winning the belt, that's what he's going to do. Because Moxley is really the guy who loves to wrestle in indie shows around the world. He
Mm-hmm.
loves wrestling in Japan. So if you want someone to take that belt to different promotions and different, like overseas, Jon Moxley's the guy to do it.
Yeah. But even in this match, man, the way that Mox was just running roughshod over Cassidy,
Oh.
ugh, like throwing him around, not letting Cassidy do his little trademark hands in his
Mm-hmm.
pockets or his lazy kicks. But I do like that we do see in Cassidy like a real change in his character. Like the moment Cassidy started busting open, it was like every time Cassidy tried to gain some ground, Moxley immediately pushed him back down. And the biggest turn of the night didn't come until Mox threw him outside, removed the pads on the floor, was going to do that Death Rider, but turned into a beach break.
Beach break.
That was the turn of the pace for Cassidy in that match, to where
Mm-hmm.
Cassidy could at least bring Mox on even ground.
Love the shout outs to Roman Reigns in this match. the Superman punch, and then Cassidy hitting the ropes like Roman does to hit the spear for the 2 count. I really thought Moxley was going to in turn hit a curb stomp
I
on
thought it was
Cassidy.
Cassidy because when Cassidy had once again like did a nasty chop on Mox, I saw Mox like bent over down on one knee. I'm thinking, is Cass gonna do a freaking curb stomp on him? But then
The
also I did
reason
like
why I said
when
Moxley is because Mox is known to do the curb stomp in his matches as well.
that's true he is. But also with Cassidy too, when Cassidy started getting back in his groove and put his hands in his pockets, I liked at first when he was doing those lazy kicks, you saw Mox starting to go, "Are you kidding me?" But then Cassidy starts going those front
Yeah,
kicks over and over again. Like
harder and harder and harder kicks and harder kicks. Like it starts off very slow, and then he just gets angry and starts kicking the fuck out of Moxley.
yes. And when we get later in towards the night, man, Demox does a paradigm shift. It didn't work, and then Cassidy in that moment just gets up, those flip off, and then yeah, that Death
Ah,
Rider. Ugh. I didn't. I was against Mox winning, not because I didn't think he deserved it. It was because, like, again, this is Mox being called up to bat for AEW to main event and really put the weight on his shoulders. And I thought this would have been a good opportunity for Cassidy, but I don't hate it. I just
mhm.
felt to me like there could have been more story to go with Cassidy holding that belt, but with Mox holding it. And from what you said, Hunter, I do see Mox maybe taking it if he goes to GCW or if he's in any independent shows. Or hell, I mean, with the BCC, him holding gold, this could definitely set up a new challenger for maybe in 2024 they take that belt off of Mox.
Mhm. And overall, like, what more could you have done with Cassidy's title reign? I mean, 31 title defenses. His body was given out on him.
Mm-hmm.
He fought his hardest. He fucking went out like a fucking warrior, flipping off Moxley to where Moxley then had to hit another Death Rider. So it protects Orange. Now Orange can go for, bigger titles. You can go for the world title maybe, or you can go for another, prestigious title. And Moxley can now take this belt and, to me, do what John Cena did for the U.S. title. He elevates the title, or what Cody did to the TNT title. He can elevate that title
I
to
know what
be
you mean.
on par with the world title.
I know what you mean. But also, since Mox is a main event guy, this belt can definitely be a main event belt as well. Because with
Yeah,
MJF's character, he doesn't like to defend his title a lot. Well, guess what? Mox wants to be
that's
there on Dynamite and Collision almost every
yep.
week. Guess what? That belt can be guaranteed a shot. Not to say that Cassidy wasn't doing the same thing what Cody and John
Oh, he
Cena were
was.
doing. Oh, he was. Yeah, that belt's elevated. But now, just like I said, with Starks is officially like a reborn star made man. Cassidy is cemented as a main event top talent after this pay per view. So whatever
Yeah,
they
without
do,
a doubt.
because so far, like even before All Out, I was coming across so many people like doing some re-looks at Cassidy to where when people were saying when Cassidy came in, no one understood this guy, nobody got his gimmick, everyone thought he was a joke. Whenever he was near gold, everyone thought it was going to kill AEW. But then you see what Cassidy's done with a belt that literally looked like it was just going to be another throwaway title. Cassidy takes it, makes it mean something important with his defenses, and now it's on the belt of Moxley, which this belt can be a top main event prize, either on
Yeah,
Dynamite,
exactly.
Rampage, or Collision.
Mhm. I just I am so sick of the IWC just in general. The
Yeah,
tribalism in wrestling is ridiculous. Because look at it. This weekend we had two great nights of wrestling with Payback and All Out.
and then
And
last week we had a great show with All In.
All In. Like, wrestling does not need to be one or the other. You can love both, you can hate both.
Well,
But to
people are
pick
very
one over
like
the other.
it's really even more condensed than people thought. Because other than AEW and WWE, there are so many other wrestling out there. Like if there's so many different styles. Like I think I remember before All In, somebody had Chris. I believe it was Chris Hero who was able to nail down the different aspects of wrestling in different regions. In London, it was kind of like a pro street fight. It was like brawling. In Mexico, you got the lucha libre style. In Japan, it was treated like a legitimate sport, and then here in America, it's pretty much just heightened theater or
Entertainment.
yeah, well, not just pure entertainment, but it's like it's melodrama, like play
Mhm.
acting. It's not exactly what he said, but it's the melodrama that's in American wrestling is what's known worldwide. And even
Yeah.
then, there are still so many more companies out there. Just if you don't like either AWWE, get the Fight TV app, and you can watch Impact, you can watch NWA, or whenever MLW gets to show its whenever MLW pops around, you can watch that. Or I know there's another wrestling site out there that promotes wrestling from other corners. You can watch Progress Wrestling, you can watch AAA, you can watch CML, you can watch CMLL. There
Yeah.
is so much, and of course you can also watch GCW as well. I've seen a
Mhm.
GCW show. If you want something that reminds you of ECW or in a mix of backyard wrestling, that's GCW for you.
Yep.
There's so much
Definitely.
taste and variety out there. No one needs to condense themselves, but that's what these people are doing. They don't want to go out there and seek it. They just want it brought to them, which is why I never listen to the IWC. I don't listen to dirt sheets because there's the business, then there's what the trusted sources will get from the business, and then there's the dozen or 2 dozen fake fake sources out there that's going to tell you
Mhm.
this. At this point,
Yeah.
I'm either going to take it from the horse's mouth or I'm just going to watch what I see on screen, enjoy it for my own personal enjoyment, and then talk about it with either you or some other friends, or shut down some dumbass troll that's trying to mix up. I may not shut him down, but I'll definitely add my voice in there, even if it wants to give him the acclaim he seeks. But trust me, when you get no matter what they tell you, negative press is not good press.
No.
You just get a dirty stain on your reputation to where no one fucking trusts you.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I don't listen to people like Jim Cornette or Vince Russo or anything like, or Eric Bischoff. I
Yeah,
just, I don't care. Like, I'll listen to fans like, Steven Larson or things like that, people who are just fans of pro wrestling
yeah.
and who want to talk about it.
Yeah, everyone will have an opinion, but to me, it's like unless you're not constantly still involved in the business, but you're just like, oh, I'm just going to start a podcast. I mean, look, I'm not a fan of Bruce Pritchard, but at least he's still every now and then he's still involved in with wrestling in general. So
Mm-hmm.
at least I'll hear what he has to say. Outside of Cornette, who's pretty much burned every bridge he's almost been a part of.
I Cornette is probably going crazy with the Cassidy Moxley match. He probably hated it.
Well, I'm not going to watch and find out. I'll see someone share something of his and be like,
By,
okay, here it is.
by the way, I love the fact that in this match, Moxley wasn't the one bleeding like a maniac. It was Cassidy.
like we had Danielson, Starks, and Cassidy bleed, and I think also in TBS match, I think Ruby Soho busted her nose.
Buster knows, yeah.
Oh, I mean, because I noticed that there was some blood happening in the match. I wasn't sure if it was Ruby or Chris, but
Yeah, it was Ruby. She
yeah.
busted her nose.
But beyond that, though, this was still a very fun, entertaining pay per view. And this All Out can definitely prove you can still have main event caliber matches without the main belt on the line.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that they're doing more pay per views because, like, they have a pay per view in October called Wrestle Dream that's coming out.
Yeah, and that's in honor of Antonio Inoki, which is great.
Is it really?
Well, yeah, Tony had said that. I believe one
Ooh.
wrestling site had noticed that, and then in the media scrum, Tony Khan was talking about meeting Antonio Inoki, wanting to collaborate or at least do something with him in his honor. And I think this is happening on the anniversary of his passing. I could be off, honestly. But beyond that, Wrestle Dream, I think I kind of like this that Tony Khan with these mini events.
Mm.
Uh, like he has with Grand Slam coming up, and then of course what he has with hopefully with Forbidden Door. Yes, Antonio Inoki passed away on October 1st, so that's when Wrestle Dream is happening.
Is that a pay per view or is that going to be like a special TV show?
I'm not sure about a TV show. Maybe it's going to be. Right now, Khan is treating it as an opera. as like a pay-per-view style event.
All right, so like a Forbidden Door almost, where it's gonna be like a lot of dream matches.
Yeah, so far. Oh no, this is happening Sunday, October 1st. I think this might be a pay-per-view event.
Yeah, if it's Sunday, then yeah, it's definitely a pay per view event.
Yeah.
Is
No,
it
oh wait, it's saying yeah.
said if
AEW presents Wrestle Dream. I'm seeing live on pay-per-view. Yes.
yep. All right, so is that going to be partnering with New Japan? I think they would, considering it's for
It
Inoki.
has to be, honestly. If this is in celebration, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have some New Japan stars coming in. Maybe see some wrestlers
Hell,
from Noah or Pro
you
DDT.
might,
Maybe some Stardom wrestlers in there.
yeah, you might have Kingston and Claudio at Wrestle Dream. That might be the perfect place to do it
That could be, yeah. Because this is
because
kind
those
of good
guys have
padding.
history with Japan.
Yeah, because this is also good padding in between All Out and Full Gear.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. You could probably have Mercedes Monet make her debut there, since it wouldn't really be like an AEW event. It'd be like a New Japan mixed with AEW show. So you could do something there. A lot of different. Definitely Bullet Club Gold has to be on that card somewhere because of their history in Japan. You could definitely have a lot of different like really cool matchups.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm hoping for. I mean, right now, while they're doing with so far right now with AEW, not All Out's done. They're gonna build towards Grand Slam, but then of course after Grand Slam, then I'm pretty sure they're gonna be setting up card. They're gonna be setting up matches for Wrestle Dream in the meantime, in between.
Yeah.
So they got two stacked events that they're definitely gonna build here, and then of course after Wrestle Dream, then they can definitely build up on Full Gear, which I'm looking forward to that. So definitely AEW is not gonna let this recent termination of CM Punk hinder them. They're gonna keep moving forward. If the fans who are fans of Punk want to leave, bye. See
CM
you
Punk
later.
leaving might be the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we do have to head out. If you did enjoy this conversation, please hit that like button, subscribe to the Nerd Entertainment Network down below. Join us next week for the week of wrestling. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Later.